both of you guys, since you both participated for the organization around the same time and you played with Kyler Murray, do you guys believe Kyler Murray will finish his career in Arizona?
No.
The way things are, just especially with how people just move, bro, and get traded, I don't think so. It's a new way, bro. It's a new era in the NFL.
This is the worst case scenario for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to get into it in just a sec. Before we get to the content, we're giving away $250 to 2 of my followers that follow me on Twitter at Mikerophone NFL. Now that we got all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? We've made a plethora of videos on teams in the NFC West, primarily Kyler Murray and Deebo Samuel, that are doing their best to get brand new contracts in very similar ways, might I add. This all started with just a rumor on January of 2022 that the Arizona Cardinals owner was very upset after the Arizona Cardinals were blown out by the Los Angeles Rams 31-11 in a wild card game. Now, according to Kyle Odengard of 7 Star Digital, hit the fan, and there was a very tense meeting between Michael Bidwell, the owner of the Arizona Cardinals, and Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury. Of course, those rumors were shut down by none other than Ian Rappaport, who said none of this was true whatsoever, and for the most part, we all decided to ignore it. Then, eventually, Kyler Murray would scrub his entire Instagram feed of everything to do with the Arizona Cardinals, leaving only 2 pictures up originally. Now, typically when players do this, as we've come to learn, it usually means that they want a brand new contract, which is 100% fine, especially if you don't have confidence in your ability to 1, perform, or 2, stay healthy. I can understand why you would want that stability, and I'm never gonna hate on a player for doing whatever it takes for them to secure the bag and do whatever is best for their family. But things would take a very interesting turn shortly after. The Arizona Cardinals would clap back at Kyler Murray by scrubbing their own Instagram feed of all but 2 pictures that included Kyler Murray. But in addition to this, you would also hear on the day of the Super Bowl that tensions would be mounting between the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray. The Cardinals apparently perceived Kyler Murray as self-centered and immature, according to Chris Mortensen, saying that he was also a finger pointer. Meanwhile, Kyler Murray said that he viewed himself as the scapegoat for the Arizona Cardinals getting absolutely decimated against the Los Angeles Rams, which, to be fair, if you have a horrific performance and throw pick sixes in a game against another team, then chances are you kind of deserve the blame, especially if that performance isn't very typical of you, which, with respect to Kyler Murray, it isn't typical for him. Now, the Cardinals would respond to Chris Mortensen's statement by saying that they have nothing but high regard for Kyler Murray, and we as a team and Kyler individually have improved each year he's been in the league. We are excited to continue that improvement into 2022 and are excited that Kyler is the quarterback leading us. There is also reports that the Arizona Cardinals want Kyler Murray to take more of a leadership role with the organization, which makes sense because Kyler Murray is the face of the Arizona Cardinals. It's not DeAndre Hopkins, it's not Cliff Kingsbury, it's not James Conner, and it's not JJ Watt. It's 100% Kyler Murray. And I feel like calling out Kyler Murray for checking himself out of the wild card game prematurely is very much warranted, because at the end of the day, the way the team takes the loss is based upon how Kyler Murray takes the loss. If he stamps his feet and is upset about the fact that they lost, then it's not going to reflect well upon him and the team. But if he decides to take it as a learning lesson and tries to improve for next year, then that's something completely different. But following that, very shortly, Kyler Murray's agent would then put out this gigantic paragraph stating that, for the most part, we could summarize this entire essay into a few short words: "Hey, my client Kyler Murray, he's really good at football," which we could all agree that Kyler Murray is good at football. Now, things get very interesting here because Kyler Murray shortly after would repost all of his pictures onto Instagram saying that this nonsense is not what I'm about and issuing a gigantic apology. His exact words being that I play this game for the love of it. My teammates, everyone who has helped me get into this position, that believed in me and to win championships. hoops. All of this nonsense is not what I'm about, never has been, never will be. Anyone who has ever stepped between those lines with me knows how hard I go. Love me or hate me, I'm going to continue to grow and get better. Which brings us to where we are currently, because Kyler Murray's camp a week ago via Tom Pelissero said that Kyler is not expected to play unless he gets a brand new deal. Now, the Cardinals have yet to make a contract offer to Kyler Murray, whose agent Eric Burkhart informed the team weeks ago that he was pulling his opening proposal off of the table. Now, here's the thing. I could understand contract negotiations getting tense. I understand it. I'm a football fan. I've seen it many times. But this is where things get a little weird, because former Cardinals teammates of Kyler Murray didn't come at Kyler Murray for what's going on. They came at the Arizona Cardinals culture and mentioned that behind the scenes, things aren't going as well as you'd think. This is coming from Chase Edmonds and an individual that is very much so respected in the NFL, Patrick Peterson, in the All Things Covered podcast. And both of these players predicted that Kyler Murray would not finish his career with the Arizona Cardinals. Patrick Peterson had this to say: "No, I've been around K1, Kyler Murray. He's a competitor. And I feel like, no disrespect to the Arizona Cardinals," which is, by the way, what you say when you're about to completely disrespect a team, "I feel like they don't put the team in a position to be successful year after year after year. They want to sit and wait on draft picks instead of being aggressive in free agency and going and getting guys that can help you get better right now versus waiting on the future. Kyler Murray's not going to sit around and wait for that." With all due respect to Patrick Peterson, and if you're an Arizona Cardinals fan, let me know before I give you my take what you think of what Patrick Peterson said. Because right away, immediately when I see this quote, I think the Cardinals have been in win now mode ever since acquiring Kyler Murray. Yes, some of their draft picks might not reflect that. Isaiah Simmons is definitely a player that may take some time to develop, but that was a player that you didn't expect to be there at that point, and that was a huge steal for the Arizona Cardinals in that NFL draft. But here's the thing, the Arizona Cardinals have been making very good moves recently. They paid Budda Baker. Prior to that, they signed JJ Watt. Yes, they let Chandler Jones go, but Chandler Jones was getting kind of unhappy in the desert anyways. He was very unhappy for the past year and a half, and he was always rumored to go. But even prior to that, they made a huge trade stealing DeAndre Hopkins. They signed James Conner, who absolutely broke out with the Arizona Cardinals. Once he broke out with the Cardinals, they re-signed James Conner. And then in the middle of the season this year, the Arizona Cardinals, who already had a really freaking good offense, decided, no. This isn't enough. It's not enough that Rondale Moore is actually showing us some potential. It doesn't matter that the Arizona Cardinals signed AJ Green last year, which I know he's no longer the AJ Green that was drafted number 4 overall by the Cincinnati Bengals, but still, a player that was a stud with his whole team that is without a doubt a surefire future NFL Hall of Famer, hits free agency, and you're able to snag him for the cheap. Pair him with DeAndre Hopkins, inject fresh blood with the drafting of Rondale Moore, and then in the middle of the season, going out and trading for Zach Ertz. These are all win now moves. I could only think of a handful of moves that were made where you need to sit back and wait for players to develop. The only situations where I could see that the Arizona Cardinals made moves that Kyler Murray may not be happy about is drafting Zaven Collins last year over an offensive tackle, which I totally get. I feel like the Cardinals are very past due upgrading the offensive line for Kyler Murray. When CeeDee Lamb was available a few years ago, Kyler Murray begged the Arizona Cardinals to draft him, but they went with Isaiah Simmons instead, which I understand because that's a situation that you can't pass up, and they also recently traded for DeAndre Hopkins. So with respect to Patrick Peterson, one of the greatest cornerbacks of our generation and an Arizona Cardinals legend, I have to disagree. This is not true at all. The Arizona Cardinals are putting Kyler Murray in a remarkable situation to win, and they've gone all in on doing whatever they can to make sure this man has talent around him while he's on his rookie scale contract. But let me know in the comment section if you disagree, because we still have Chase Edmonds to hear from as well. Chase Edmonds concurred with Patrick Peterson and said, man, the way things are and how people just move and get traded, I don't think that the Cardinals want to win. And when he was asked if Kyler Murray would remain with the franchise throughout his career, he said, it's a new way, bro. It's a new era in the NFL. He wants to win. People are going to say a lot of things about K1, but he wants to win more than anything. I promise you that. And so if the winning isn't happening, I don't know. Now, what's really interesting here is, with all due due respect to Kyler Murray, it seems like winning doesn't necessarily seem to be at the forefront of his priorities right now. He wants to get paid. Yeah, you could win and get paid, but if you are thinking, okay, I need to get paid immediately, when another individual that is due for a contract extension that has won an MVP already, Lamar Jackson, is literally telling reporters that he's not focused on a new contract and is more focused on trying to make himself better so he could win a Super Bowl this offseason, it's not necessarily the right time to say these things. Sure, Kyler Murray could want to get paid and he could want to win, but in an offseason where you're seeing Lamar Jackson in the same exact situation that deserves the contract extension more than Kyler Murray, with all due respect, I don't know. It doesn't necessarily seem like winning is at the forefront of Kyler Murray's priorities. Now, it's interesting to note, I'm always going to mention this in all my videos about Kyler Murray, that there is no way, shape, or form that Kyler Murray is going to get traded. And Steve Keim, the general manager of the Arizona Cardinals, actually concurred that. There is zero chance that Kyler Murray is going to get traded. This is right as I'm making the video, by the way. Kyler Murray responded to this saying 100. It's kind of weird. It seems like Kyler Murray's camp is playing hardball, but Kyler Murray himself doesn't want his camp to be going this hard. I think it's a situation where Kyler Murray said,
I do want a contract extension.
And his agent's like, this is how you have to go about it. But Kyler doesn't want to go about it maybe this way. That's at least what I'm getting from this situation. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this. The Arizona Cardinals are an absolute mess. As talented as they are, they really need to get it together, because you wouldn't want to waste this much talent on a team on a season where you don't perform. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.